What's going on, world? This is your boy Dynasty the Alias coming to you live in effect as always. And we have the one and only. State your name, please.
What up? This is Logick right here, Orlando, Florida, holding it down. Pleasure to be here right now.
So right now we have Logick here to talk with us about what makes him Logick. The dark scenery, it was all because of the fact that secretly he is Batman.
It's true. My downtown Batman. Don't tell nobody though.
Alright, so first things first, what I want to know is you have been part of a massive movement throughout the Orlando and Central Florida and even spanning outside of Orlando. Just want to know, what was some of your inspiration to start doing what it was that you're doing now, hip-hop wise?
I mean, a lot of my inspiration comes from being that artist, you know, the same as everyone else is stuck in the same rut where you're trying to get a show and you're trying to move forward and you're trying to advance, you're trying to come through the ranks. You know, I kind of just woke up one day, I was like, you know what? There's promoters, there's this, that, third. I can do this. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna book a venue, I'm gonna get everything together, I'm just gonna do it. Like, nobody's gonna stop me, I can do this, let's go. And it just became like a pure drive based off that, and kind of just like led into with the movement that it is now.
What was your inspiration as an artist, specifically? Like, what got you started into hip-hop?
The actual foundation of it, I was up in Nashville, Tennessee, and we were hanging out in my friend's truck at a McDonald's. On the corner, you know, of Main Road, whatever, and somebody came flying by, bumping some southern trap music, and you know, I get it, I enjoy it, but at the same time, it's not lyrically inspiring. So I kind of like looked at that, going, you know what, I think I could rap better than this, and it just kind of came like, I don't know, something like, I wouldn't say ego, but something along those lines, where I kind of just drove myself, like, you know what, I can do better than this, like, let's go, and I started getting more advanced. And I started with the basics, you know, like the cliche, Insane Clown Posse, 3 6 Mafia, Eminem, so forth and so on. It kind of kept building from there, increasing the knowledge and catching up on the history. And as it kept going, I kept pushing forward based on that.
Okay. So why Orlando specifically? Obviously, since you have a colorful past within South Florida, within Nashville, Tennessee, and other places, why Central Florida specifically?
Well, I moved out of Tennessee because I knew life wasn't going to go where I needed to go at the time, and I was trying to push forward and move to the next level. So I moved down to a place called Newport Richey and lived with my grandparents for a little while and finished high school. But by the time I finished high school, when it came to that time, I said, you know, I want to move somewhere where I don't know anybody at all. I want to start a new slate and say, you know what, let's just see where I can go in another city, all entirely. And the closest city that was nearby was Tampa and Orlando, and I knew I didn't want to go to Tampa. You know, it wasn't enough of a city for me. So the next choice was Orlando, and I checked out the colleges, looking at stuff like that, like UCF, and truth be told, I found out they had 3 girls every dude, so I was pretty much sold there anyway, and decided, you know, Orlando's where it's going to be, and just kind of, you know, pushed out from there. And ever since then, I found a lot of love, I found a lot of support. I really liked the way everything was out here, and I decided, you know, this is where I'm going to be at.
So along with that, you've obviously have incorporated very good relationships amongst the hip-hop scene here. Also being a member of the Conscious Minds family. Talk to us about Conscious Minds. Like, what drew you guys together to form Conscious Minds?
Well, Conscious Mind had pre-existed about 2 or 3 years before I joined the team. And what actually happened there is I was doing a project called Underground Connections, where we did a series of competitions, and whoever the best artist was and won the competition would go to the next city. So looking at the project, knowing how much work was going to be put in, resources, everything that would come into it, I started looking around. I said, you know, all right, who's the players in town? And from there on out, I started narrowing down, like, all right, who's the players who are willing to get involved and actually try to make this more of a movement? And I saw Conscious Mind doing similar things with Hip Hop's Ultimate Challenge and things like that. I knew it was kind of up their alley. And I saw Ills doing the competition with the battle raps. Again, it just made sense, so we all got together. And I partnered with Conscious Mind. We hired Matt Ills and brought him on and partnered with Lounge Battles and kind of ran it that way. And it just worked so well that we ended up, you know, making it a permanent time position for myself and Conscious Mind. You know, they liked the way that I worked. I liked the way that they worked. We saw eye to eye. We knew we were all making a positive change in the community, so we tried to bring it to that level.
That sounds great. So now, one of the most important questions I wanted to ask you about is the fact that when it comes to you and things that you do in comparison to things that other musicians do, as far as the things that you seek out for, as far as what your level of success is determined by, What is your motivating force to actually find different types of things that won't limit you to that of what the Orlando scene is traditionally looking for?
Well, on a business note, it's about keeping your mind open. You can't be closed-minded to just your own way of thinking, because you're gonna hinder your own progress at the end of the day. You have to be willing to push forward and try new things. You know, you put your hand on a stove 100 times, it's still gonna be hot. You go ahead and you try a different thing every time, you're gonna see different results. So it's kind of the willingness to want to go ahead and just see where we can kind of go with things. You know, just play around with concepts, come up with new ideas, something fresh, something different, because, well, the old ways are diminishing in some kind of work, you know, for the select few. There's still the concept of, I don't know what the ratio is, but there's a ton of artists out here on the underground level that aren't getting recognized, and they hustle just as hard as the next person, but I think there's things that they miss out on, you know, coming back to that closed-minded level of it. So, you know, the biggest thing I would say in general is just keep an open mind.